a friend who a few years ago had to make a major decision in her life, and that's when she found a bench in the park where she went every day to sit for a month. She said it was on that bench that she was able to just be still and take note of the beauty all around her and get a clearer hearing of where the Spirit was leading her. A few weeks ago, I invited you to enter into the wilderness, to dare to step out onto unknown paths, and I want to check in with you to see how that has gone. Did you dare to do something different? Did you dare to listen to the Spirit where it was leading you? What have you discovered? It's okay if the journey wasn't quite as what you expected it to be. It never is. I think that is what I like about Lent. It's always a surprise. But as my Lenten journey comes to an end, I hold the words of Wendell Berry close to my heart. For he once wrote, "When we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey." A friend emailed me the other day to ask me how I was doing, and I really didn't give it much thought. I've just been so busy these past few weeks. Why these videos, our time together, hasn't been on a regular basis. We will get back to that. But I haven't really thought about really how I was doing. I've just been nonstop going and haven't really asked myself that question. I found myself writing to her. Everything's kind of crazy. I feel like I'm running around and searching and wandering, and yet the very thing I'm looking for, I have a very strong feeling it's already here. And after I wrote that, I had to look at it a couple of times because it took me by surprise that I actually said that. I feel like I'm wandering, and yet really the very thing I'm looking for, I have a great sense of peace that's already here. It's right in front of me. It's right before me. It's inside of me. It's here already. Spending my Lenten journey unpacking that and taking a look around as to what is already here that I seem to be searching for. Now, as many of you know, since January, my life has kind of been in an upheaval and just trying to figure out what God wants from me next. And I wanted to use this season of Lent to really just journey in the wilderness and discern and to pray and take a step back and breathe. And that really hasn't happened. In fact, last week, I've had several job interviews from different organizations and magazines and so forth. And I've been in a flurry of Zoom meetings, and I didn't realize how emotionally draining it was to interview because you're putting your best self forward. And yet, I don't know if you suffer from this, but there is a thing called imposter syndrome in which you feel like you're an imposter, that you're not really what your resume says. So to have several job interviews just sandwiched all together, like back to back in 1 week, it really did a job on my emotions. You know, who am I? Am I really capable? What can I do? But it's all going to work out. And as the season of Lent comes to a close, I once again am in awe as to what God is up to. Again, I feel like I'm always wandering, but yet what I wrote, I have to believe that's the Spirit speaking through me. When I actually said, the very thing I'm looking for, I have a feeling is right here. And it is. God has given me gifts to write and to communicate. God has given me the dream of my heart, an 18th century little home in Vermont. And I'm surrounding myself even more and more with wonderful antiques, as you see the new sconce I have with the candles and the milk bucket. And I was so excited that I got this the other day. I've always wanted one. Do you know what this is? It's a foot warmer. And way back when they would put hot embers in here, and They would take the foot warmer to church and put it down and put your feet on top to keep your toes nice and toasty. It was a frivolous purchase. I really didn't need to spend the money on something I'm probably not going to use, but it gave me joy. So I've been filling up the home even more with antiques and living in that 18th century mode. So when I wrote that to my friend, that I feel like I'm searching, but yet what I'm searching for is right here, I realize it is. We often spend Lent wandering in the wilderness, but that wandering never ends. It's not just for a season of Lent. I think we spend our entire lives searching for something when really we need to take a look, and maybe that very thing that we're searching for is already in our lives and we just don't know it. Maybe we stand in the way of that very thing that we want. We could sabotage ourselves. Before we get to Palm Sunday, we have a story in the Bible about Jesus bringing his best friend who died back to life. It's a mini resurrection before the big resurrection. And Jesus loved Lazarus, but Lazarus died and he was in the tomb for 4 days, but Jesus calls him forth. And that is very exciting. So whenever we think something is over with, it's not. There's always hope. There's always a redemption. There's always a resurrection. This year in my life, what really called my attention in that story of Lazarus being risen from the dead, it was when Jesus asks, "Where have you laid him?" That question could be just a very simple question. Jesus wanted to know where the body was so he could grieve with others and pay respects to his friend and then show God's glory by raising him. So we never pay attention to that question. We just take it as, where's the body? But for me this year, that question really popped out because I think it's Jesus asking me, where have you laid your brokenness? Where have you placed all those dashed hopes? Where have you holed up and locked away all those hurts that have not been healed? Where have you placed those dreams that have died? Where have you placed them? And show me, because I can revive them. The thing is, do we trust Jesus enough to lead him to our brokenness? Do we trust God enough to say, come, I'll show you where I've buried all my hopes and dreams? We have to be bold enough, trust enough to say, hey, come, I'll let you enter into my brokenness. I'll let you see where I've placed everything that I thought was hopeless. I'll let you in so that you can do wonders. It has been a time for me to wander in the wilderness, but that time is coming to an end. And I have been just very grateful for all of you and for friends and family and all those God moments. My time of wandering is coming to an end, and I'm beginning to emerge with the struggling spring crocuses here in Vermont. I'm beginning to feel that new life bubbling back up. And I know that my wandering time will never, ever end because we're always growing and changing, and God is always showing us a new path. There was a bumper sticker I once saw on a car that said, all those who wander are not lost, which is true. All those who are wandering are not necessarily lost. They're just searching for deeper meaning, searching for deeper relationships, searching for answers to questions that we are hesitant to ask the world, those deep questions. No, all who wander are not necessarily lost. Not at all. But the thing is this, all those who wander we will be found. I've been busy. I just don't know where I'm going, but I have this incredible sense that all that I'm looking for is already here. And it is. Here in Old Stonewall Farm, here in my passions, my dreams, and my desire to write and share good news with others. It's all right here. I just have to open up my eyes and see it and not be afraid of it. I just have to trust God and say, here, I'll show you where I've laid my dead dreams. I'll show you. And I'll trust that you'll bring them to life in the most beautiful way.
He once lost his way. He knows now that was yesterday. He fell down on his knees to pray for home. We'll say